with something that is actually percolating in the sports world, but it did come up earlier this week. Last week with Gavin McKenna.
Oh.
And I want to play this TikTok because it succinctly explains what is going on. And by the way, I will just say that I love this because screw the Bengals. But Jesse, go ahead and press play.
All right.
This guy might become the NFL's worst nightmare, and he's trying to go back to college football after already being drafted. So this man right here is Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M, and he was drafted 17th overall by the Bengals this year. But Shamar here is the only first-round pick to not have signed his rookie contract yet, because the Bengals are trying to shaft him.
Just 1 second. He keeps saying Bengals, like the wrist thing.
No, it's Bengals.
It's Bengals.
Bengal. Like
not like the thing you wear on your wrist. Not Bengal.
Yeah.
Bengals.
You never have one of those for breakfast? Have a nice bagel? God, that pisses me off.
Yeah.
All right.
The team name's not right there.
Is the only first-round pick to not have signed his rookie contract yet, because the Bengals are trying to shaft him. Now, this dispute happening with Shamar and the Bengals isn't about money. He's a first-round pick. He gets $18, almost $19 million, fully guaranteed on his rookie contract. But the reason he's not signing is because the Bengals tried to sneak in a little clause in the contract. And this clause that they tried to sneak in there was saying that if he gets in any trouble, this is a very blanket term, they can void all future guarantees on his contract. So his agent is telling him, no, you're not going to sign that. And he hasn't practiced at all with the team, and he's actually been practicing with Texas A&M. And Shamar here could really mess things up for the NFL. Because one, he could go back to college football. That would probably involve a lawsuit because the NCAA doesn't allow people who were drafted to go play back at college football again. It's possible, but not likely. Number two, he could ask for a trade from the Bengals. Or number three, which is the NFL's worst nightmare, he could re-enter the draft next year. Because basically there's a loophole in Article 6 of the collective bargaining agreement that says if Stewart doesn't sign his rookie contract or play at all in 2025, he can re-enter the draft next year and get drafted by any other team except the Bengals. And now that players have all this insane NIL money, they can afford to sit out if they don't want to play for a team. Like, Shamar could care less about money right now. All he has to do is just not sign a contract and sit out a year, still keep practicing, and then get drafted by a totally different. Sure. And if this happens, and if he does it, this is terrible, terrible, terrible news for the NFL. Because, of course, the NIL changed everything in professional and college sports, even high school.
So what I found interesting about this story, and by the way, the auto captions do say Bengals, B-A-N-G-L. So,
I didn't even
That's what I'm saying.
A couple of times. So you were right. I just didn't want you to keep saying it and then it distract from the story. It's not because I don't love you. But besides being a big Steelers fan, and viewing Cincinnati and their team as just a bunch of trash cans dressed up in tiger stripes.
Wow.
This is really interesting for, I think, a multitude of reasons. Now, the word today is because of this story, the Trump administration is working on an executive order when it comes to NIL money. So we're going to wait on that, which is insane with all the issues they have.
Epstein. It's a distraction. Epstein. Anyway, sorry, continue.
But leaving that part out of it, because I do want to mention that Front Office Sports did report that today. Leaving that out of it, this kind of player control is crazy. Now, we talked about ELCs in the new CBA with the NHL, and the fact that there has been zero movement. Mm-hmm. They did nothing. Like nothing. The bonuses aren't better. They're not easier to retain. Your 925 is your 925 base.
But that doesn't make any sense to me because the NHLPA and their super good pro-union members fought hard for the young up-and-comers.
They did not.
Like they always do.
Right.
Oh, no. They actually fucking suck.
They didn't limit ELCs to, say, 2 years or something like that. Yeah. Like, or I mean, obviously you can sign a 2-year ELC. Most players do not.
Yeah.
I thought it was fascinating, and I don't know what the rules are surrounding re-entering the draft. But if NIL money becomes anywhere close to what your rookie minimum is going to be in the NHL, and obviously we're a long way away from that in the NCAA. Long, long way. Gavin McKenna is the outlier.
Yeah.
But let's say Frozen 4 really gains some steam over the next few years. Well, I think we might be talking about a different sort of situation where players go, yeah, you could draft me, or I can wait till I'm 21 and be a UFA and sign anywhere.
And at the end of the day, what's wrong with that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think it's really interesting.
Oh, it's super interesting. Like for years, we were like, why on earth don't these players get paid? Well, they get paid through their education. Fuck, shut up. Yeah. That's not paid, right? That's a maybe bougie internship, but it's not getting paid, right? And it's certainly not getting paid my worth, not even close to getting paid my worth. I'm a college star. What are the NCAA like television rights for football, right? And then that friggin' South Park episode, I think, ruined it. and that sort of got the ball rolling. And
like so many things with South Park.
Like so many things with South Park. The NHL, I mean, Gavin McKenna, albeit he's an outlier, he's going to make damn near league minimum next year. And if you count his education on top of the $700,000 that he's getting, you could say he is making league minimum. He's certainly not making rookie league minimum, but he's also not even eligible to be drafted yet. This is interesting, man. And I'm just having a real hard time feeling bad for these teams that have screwed people at every turn for decades.
Jesse, do you feel bad for these teams that have screwed people at every turn for decades?
Which teams are you talking about?
Well, do you feel bad?
CHL teams?
The vast majority. No,
definitely not the CHL teams. I'm talking about sort of like, listen, we are a ways off from this, but what do you think about in a football perspective here? You know, this is a guy that's potentially walking away from $18 or $19 million guaranteed. Is it worth the risk to sit out a year? And, you know, you don't have that year of grind on your body, but you also, you lose a little bit of that development curve that you have that's so important. What do you think about this story and how it pertains, I guess, to hockey eventually? Because if the money starts to come, it could be dangerous.
But just on a second on what Steve was saying, the teams who've screwed, you don't feel bad for the NCAA teams?
No, I don't feel bad for NCAA or NFL teams because they're both, I think, real guilty to different degrees. NCAA didn't have to pay anybody for God knows how long after charging ridiculous tuition fees to their entire class of students. You know, sure, they let a few in for free to play sports for them. But I mean, whenever I see college tuition in the States, my friggin' heart drops, and like Canada's bad enough. And then when it comes to the NFL, I don't think they've ever had guaranteed contracts. And they could just at the drop of a hat say F you and I don't owe you this.
In this situation, the reason I wanted to highlight that is because in this situation, the NCAA is winning in the hockey side of things.
Yes.
Yeah. So like there's nothing, they're coming out on top.
No, I was referring to the NFL. Like when I say these teams that have screwed people for, technically, Adam is right. Both sides have been screwing people for a long time. Yeah. But I'm in particular talking about the NFL.
Okay, because like I think the NIL stuff right now, as it is currently laid out, is fantastic for NCAA hockey schools, like these big schools that want these top players, because they're only going to get more and more athletes coming over from the CHL to these schools because of the money that's available to these kids. And the lifestyle is so much better. It's playing at a university campus with the top tier facilities. You're surrounded by your peers. You're surrounded by some of the best medical staff that you can get in sports at some of these schools. And you get surrounded by like these football programs too. If you're at one of the schools like Michigan State, that has a great football program and a good hockey program. And for me, like looks like it's going up for all of these schools in terms of creating one of the best top minor league hockey pipelines in hockey right now, as NIL is just growing that for all of these kids. It's I think going to destroy the CHL if it keeps going this way. Well, and not destroy it in terms of end it, but destroy it in terms of like this is going to be the top destination and the CHL is now secondary.
So what I meant when I was going in on NCAA teams, I am referring to their past habits, right? And frankly, exploitation. Totally. But no, they've taken steps to they're heading in the right direction.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but like the reason they're able to offer these types of dollar figures to these athletes is because they're making hand over fist. That
crazy
like
money.
This isn't like a drop in the bottom line. And a lot of these NIL deals, it's bringing in money into these schools in different ways. Like they're not paying for these NIL deals, they're getting them through the Nike and the Under Armour and the Bowers to facilitate that money to then go to the athletes to then bring them to the schools. Like these schools are just they're making way too much money and just paying these athletes these monies. Like I'm glad that the athletes now are finally getting their fair shake, because if you're getting $1 million NIL deal, you're probably worth 2.5. You know, they still don't pay you to your market value. So I'm glad that these student athletes can get this money.
And all those endorsement deals when they were in university, they weren't able to get them and never did. Yeah. Don't worry, they never did.
Yeah,
they never got them under the table.
I think that I think what's interesting here for the NCAA is that by lifting their restrictive, stupid policy, they have now opened up a pipeline to more revenue. Because if something like hockey, and I don't just think hockey here. I think there are. I mean, soccer is a growing sport in the United States. I think there's more opportunities now to attract, frankly, the best talent in the world. Right? Forget just Canada and the CHL. What's to stop if you can bring NCAA soccer to the fore, or make it 50% of what NCAA basketball or football is? Why would they sign up for programs? These 14-year-old kids, why are they signing up for these programs and being a part of these teams in Europe or in South America when they could come to the United States, make a lot of money, and then go and choose where they want to go? Like, I think that there is
the thing about over in Europe and soccer, that money's available to them when they're 50.
Are they being paid like that, though?
Yeah,
I
think
like
some
millions?
of those kids are, right? When you get into
some of the best
those pipelines, for those soccer players. And the NCAA didn't choose this path. The reason they're here,
it was forced on them.
They were sued into oblivion constantly about for just the like rights that these kids had to earn money, and they were forced into this through litigation. I think if it was up to them, they would have still been doing the we keep all the money and don't pay anybody anything.
I mean, student athletes. that episode really, that's South Park. Sorry, that's that whole episode was just really kind of laid it bare.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating thing. Now, it's going to take a bit. I think, too, you're going to have situations where...
That was the oldest sound you've ever seen.
Sorry, sorry. I was trying to hold back a burp and I snorted. 37, already making weird snort noises.
Sorry, man.
I got hair in my ears, on my shoulders. Where's this all coming from? I wanted to kind of dovetail that with the fact that...
Crosby's getting traded?
Yes. The CHL is interesting because Gavin McKenna couldn't play in the NCAA last year. Mm-hmm. So the CHL is essentially going to take its new position in some ways as the, hey, here are the guys that are most likely to make the jump to the NCAA. So, there might be 5-10 guys who do and are significant pieces each year. Mm-hmm. It does also, though, allow more things to open up for the CHL internationally too, because there is that little window that the CHL has that the NCAA doesn't, where you're not done high school.
I think it's also going to open people's eyes to the level of competition, because there's going to be, I don't know, some like late first, early second round pick that signs in a school and realizes I'm not better than this 21, 22-year-old undrafted guy. Because even though I'm projected to be better than them one day, I'm not.
Not yet.
I'm not yet. And what use is that to Boston College if I can't deliver for them right now? I'm going to be some depth guy. I'm not going to get the minutes I otherwise would have. It's going to hurt my development, and it's going to hurt my future earnings. So it's not going to be for everybody.
What do you think? What do you think would have happened with a guy like Austin Matthews? That's the one that comes to mind because he came out of the U.S. program and went and signed with Zurich because that's where he could make money. He knew he was going to be a top draft pick anyway. Mm-hmm. Goes and makes $1 million in Europe, lives with his mom and his sister, and makes his $1 million, plays great, gets drafted. That, to me, for top-end players, seemed like a really good idea. Nobody else really took that.
It's been a decade, and we haven't really seen it since.
I don't know why, but we haven't. And what I loved about it, too, is he was testing himself against men. Right? There were guys in that league that were 35, 36 years old. Mm-hmm. And a lot of players, I think when you have Austin Matthews level talent, the cameras are going to follow you. I'm sure some people are like, don't go over there because you'll get lost You get lost in the shuffle because, all the teams are in North America. You want to stay in North America. Imagine what a 10 years younger Austin Matthews would do or make today. I don't think he'd be leaving.
No, he'd be going to whatever school he committed to, if he even committed to a school. I don't know. And probably, I don't know, I guess it'd be deflation because you're going back to 2016, but he'd still probably make $500,000.
Well, and what about I look at a guy like Mitch Marner, who was rumored to be going to college, didn't end up going, could have probably made a fortune.
Yeah, all these kids, a lot of them who end up on the London Knights, they like commit and then they decommit and they go to the Knights. It's just really weird. Yeah, but you're right. Like, I just don't see that happening anymore.
Right.
What I do find interesting about Austin Matthews going to Switzerland, because it's a really good example to bring up and one that I haven't heard enough of. USA Hockey, it would appear, hasn't held it against him long term. Hockey Canada, like, forget it. Like, if you don't play in every tournament they ask you to play in, if you don't play in Canada, if you chose to develop somewhere else, they will hold it against you. And we've seen that.
Well, I don't know that they will now with the Hunters in charge. I think that's what they did last year, and it bit them. And
get
that's
the best players, stupid. Like,
yeah, just invite the best players and do it. Yes. Yeah. I don't think doing things like that either is going to stop a player from, like, if Hockey Canada were to continue down that line, and I know we're kind of going off to the side here. If Hockey Canada, who did they not invite because they were playing in the States?
For the World Juniors?
You didn't even get an invite to camp. There was a couple. Was it Porter Martone? No,
it wasn't Porter Martone.
Who was it?
He got an invite. I have an idea who it was once.
Anyway, long story short, if they continue that track, they're just going to be ignored. And the World Juniors will just not be, it'll be something like, it's unfortunate I didn't get to go, but I didn't get to go. And that will be what it is.
No, it wasn't him. Who the hell was it? This is pissing me off. Anyway.
Doesn't matter.
There were a few people, and I do think it's funny, like all the Olympic discussion, all the projected rosters I've seen have Nick Suzuki on the team.
And he's never played for...
Well, and he's one of the guys they're digging in on. And I do find that very funny because, first of all, he's the captain of a Canadian team. And also, like, apparently these guys have never met Nick Suzuki. Like, I've met Nick Suzuki. Like, it wasn't a particularly long meeting, but I didn't get the impression he was the kind of guy who's bothered by anything.
And what you mean by that is I don't think people realize he's not gone to the World Championships, which rumor has it has really pissed Hockey Canada off.
Yeah, but like, if you've ever seen a TikTok making fun of guys who try to act nonchalant, he's that to like an extreme degree.
He's just the chill guy.
Yeah.
Are you guys thinking of Haig or Misa or Seneki or Yakimchuk?
Yes.
Or Parek?
Well, whoever of them
no, all those guys play in Canada. So like those guys not getting invited is just because they're dumb.
Okay.
There was one college guy, and I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, it was a major one too. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the point is that things are changing, and they're changing quickly.
Yes.
And there was this. I guess we can play this clip. Jesse, I'm going to send it over to you. This is from the WHL commissioner. And there are varying schools of thought about how this is going to play out. And this is his.
Schools.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. On what it's going to take, or what the CHL and its three various leagues, the QMJHL, the OHL, and the WHL, what position they're going to take in the future with this NIL money available. And Alan tweeted about this. It's about a 33-second clip. Jesse, when you're ready, let's have a listen to Commissioner Dan Neer from the WHL.
I know people who, have flown coach their whole life and then had an opportunity to get upgraded and they sat in business class. Do you know how hard it is to go back to coach once you've sat in business class? Well, the American Hockey League versus the NCAA environment, I'm not sure that playing a Friday, Saturday schedule and then pumping iron and drinking smoothies all week is necessarily the best segue into what the AHL grind is like.
So what he was saying there, I mean, you heard him, was that essentially leagues like the WHL are a better prep course for what the NHL or the AHL will be, where you play professionally.
AHL specifically, not the NHL.
Because the NHL, the AHL is notoriously a grind. There's no question, right? There's a lot of it's you bus into a city and you play 3 games there, right?
What's the commercial? Taking the bus to Pretoria.
Yeah,
Peoria,
Peachtoria.
Family Guy.
Yeah. And that's 26 kids that are leaving for the NCAA this fall just from the WHL. I think this year will be one of the bigger migrations because it's the first one, but I do think it will be interesting to see what plays out. And I always kind of defer to, hey, what side's paying more?
Well, some
of these kids might not make the NHL ever.
Yeah, that is true.
So would you not just go get your money?
Well, so there's that. So I was trying to explain this story to my wife because she's like, okay, what's going on? And I was like, well, okay, so it used to be you would lose your college eligibility altogether. But you would stay because it was your best shot of making the NHL and playing pro. But what would happen to some guys is they'd be 20, aging out of, I don't know, the OHL, and they realize they're actually not good enough to do this for a living, or they injured themselves or something.
Plenty of that.
Or whatever, and now they don't have an education. So, you're basically left with, I guess I'll try to run a hockey school, or
you could go to
pick up a trade,
because a lot of those guys get their schools taken care of for them by the CHL team they're drafted by.
But even that, I think, is a relatively new development.
Yes,
it wasn't always like that.
Yep.
If you didn't make it, coming out of I don't know, the 90s,
yeah, good luck,
or the early 2000s, you were just screwed, right? So when I look at the CHL, they're losing all these guys, but the CHL superiority, while fun, if you're a Canadian and you get to watch these games on TV and you get to go to these games, the CHL superiority was always kind of fiction. It was always kind of forced. These kids should have always been able to go to NCAA. Mm-hmm. They should have always been able to go to whatever college they wanted. To have their eligibility stripped for, I listened to Justin Bourne's book a few months ago, and he wanted to go to a college, but he had an opportunity with, I think it was the Kelowna Rockets, and if he played an exhibition game, he would lose his eligibility. But if I remember the story correctly, the way he got away with it is for the preseason games, they often wouldn't keep the score sheet.
Oh, so it's pre-digital.
Or they just wouldn't put them on.
Hilarious.
So he got away with it. He played really well, and there's this breakaway where I think he hit the post. And he's like, if I scored on it, who knows what might have happened, but I didn't make the cut. I went down this path, and
yeah.
And he's another guy who, he went the college route and played a cup of coffee in the AHL. He played a little bit, and he discovered he was fine, but he was mostly suited with the ECHL, and we're talking about those 26 guys. I do think the vast majority of them are going to make the NHL, because this is kind of the first year of it, and this is the correction. As this levels out and tapers off over the years, it's not going to be a ton of guys. And at very least, they're going to have an education. And I should point out what you said is a lot of these guys, they come out of the OHL now and they're able to go to Canadian universities.
Yep.
I assume guys in the Q and Dub get the same thing, but
yeah,
I don't know the answer to that.
Yep.
100%. I know what I know from paying attention to the TMU team and stuff like that.